Satellites have propulsion systems, thrusters, that enable them to change their orbits, and to change their orbits in a reasonable amount of time. The satellites essentially receive data. Normally the data is collected from the radar systems that I was talking about earlier, and potentially the telescopes. And the data essentially represents the orbits of all the objects that we're currently tracking. And what we can do with that information is we can use essentially computer models to predict the trajectories into the future, and then we can look to see whether any of those trajectories intersect. So essentially there's potential for a collision, and that's the data that the satellites kind of see, and then they can make a decision about whether or not to maneuver to avoid that close approach, to avoid that collision. Starlink and SpaceX, they've gone even further than that. They're using data that they're collecting on board the satellites. So all those satellites, have about 10,000 satellites in the Starlink system that are operational. Each one of those has a tracker on it. It looks at the stars to figure out its kind of attitude in space, its orientation. But they're also seeing all the objects that are kind of passing through that sensor. It's basically a camera. And with 10,000 satellites in orbit, they collect a huge amount of data about all the objects in orbit. So they also supplement the information that they receive with their own kind of data. So they're able to detect objects and then predict the trajectories even hours in advance and make maneuvers to avoid any potential collisions. It's a really remarkable system. It's been shown to be effective in terms of preventing any collisions. We haven't seen a collision in the Starlink system since they've been operating. So that's kind of good news. I hope that continues.